Well, remember Diana said she had that appointment in Sioux Falls
yeah.
today that she didn't know if she'd be able to
But
be
we do
back
have
or
that,
not.
so. All right. Am I on?
Should be. Yep.
Test. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, I call the meeting to order. Roll call, Emma may be calling in. She's not here yet. Diana may be coming late. She's not here yet.
Hello.
Remember Diana said she had that appointment in Sioux Falls today that she didn't know if she'd be able to be back or not. Say that again?
All right. Am I on?
Should be. Yep. Test.
Had too much technology going.
All right, so first is the agenda.
We're live streaming this while we're going. Yeah.
We're live streaming or live stream.
So here's the agenda. Did anyone have, so can I have a motion
Move
to
to approve the
approve?
agenda.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All right, so minutes. Have a motion, any discussion on the minutes? Any questions, anything else? Okay, so can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, director's report. Kevin.
Okay. I guess first I'll ask if any questions, anybody have any questions? I'll just give it an update from even the written report for staffing. We conducted our last interview yesterday for the part-time position, but there are some that apply for both positions, and so we will, there's going to be somebody who we interview, who we interviewed for the part-time, we're going to interview or for the full-time position as well, and so we won't be making a decision on the part-time position
After the
selection until after we actually then I was able to schedule the full-time position interviews for, we'll be doing 2 of them tomorrow and 1 of them on Friday. So that is now all coming along nicely. The building update, just that was, I had previously informed you about that, so we're going to be switching from Golden West, which then we don't have to pay as much for travel either. The Multicultural Programming, we have a funding request for that, so we can talk about that then. And I just wanted to highlight, but we'll look at some statistics, but we had over 5,000, over 5,200 people counts coming into the library in June. So that was really good. And the graph we'll see, Zach, he has his in-depth report about the Summer Library Institute. And if you recall, the last couple of years we paid for the Swank movie license and
We're not using it.
haven't used it as much. And even when we did use it, attendance for the YA programming. So we're going to try some other stuff. And the 2023 budget, we're a little later because of the state law, and so I've begun working on putting the budget request together. But this year's budget was the same amount as last year's budget, with the exception of we got the additional funding for another part-time position, and for the most part, I'm planning on just requesting the same funding levels for next year. Maybe requesting a little bit like supplies to cover, cost price increases, and book prices have gone up maybe to cover some, so we can still get the same number of books, but all the departments are going to be doing that too. So I'm sure the city council will be having tough decisions to make to at that point. Zach?
Oh, I'm sorry. That was off. Zach's report, written report, if he wants to talk more about summer or anything.
So summer reading program has been fairly well. We had one little hitch earlier last week, but that's okay. The response that I have had to summer reading program this year has been amazing. When I wrote this report, I had run out of one prize category. I've now run out of 4. So Kevin and I will be getting together to order some additional prizes for people because, again, expectations have been surpassed and
Awesome.
completely
Great.
blown out of the water.
We won't do a lot over Jean's report, but that happened with the children's program too, that we had to order more prizes.
I am working with Zach to reschedule our event that we had on the 23rd. He emailed me on the 19th to let me know that he had COVID, which, given the numbers are rising, it's not surprising that an entertainer who does quite a few events over the summer would catch it. And then the other event that I was really worried about was Alyssa's event. That was one that we moved indoors fairly close to the date. Alyssa does have MS, so being outside in 100-degree heat would not have been great for her. So we moved that in, but we had 12 people attend, and she sold out of the books that she had brought with her to sign and sell. So that was a great time. The young adult librarian at HPL, Mary Olson, reached out to me about doing a Destination Unknown program with them. I said yes to it. So they're going to be coming down on August 10th at around 9:30 to do a paper plane making contest with us. I'm going to see if I can get a registration form ready to have 5 to 10 of our teens at that program to kind of build some intercommunity relationships as well. Teen Advisory Board, that's something I'm hoping to get set up in August or September. Teen Advisory Boards are central to young adult programming in libraries, so really before we start to expand our young adult services, I need that board because they're going to be key to what we do, because they're going to be there to help me create programs. They're going to help me with book selection. They're really just a way to get those readers that come to the library often and love the library really involved in what we do.
Do you have some individuals in mind?
I do have a few that I will personally approach and get involved and hopefully get them on the board. But
how large a board are you thinking?
We're going to see how many registrations we get and kind of go from there. Because what we talked about over our institute is that teen advisory board should just kind of be a fun commitment for teens rather than okay, you have to be here. So I'm going to see how things go. And
So these are teens?
yes, yeah.
Ah,
Yep.
okay. I was thinking adults.
Yeah, no, we with young adult programming, it's especially important that you get them directly involved in it. So that's what I'm planning to do. We're shifting nonfiction in anticipation of the end panels, which I don't know if Kevin has notified you of that, but
that day that we were closed for the in-service, I sent out that email, and I followed up with the sales rep, and they have not heard anything as of today. Yet they hadn't heard anything as to when the manufacturer will be, getting us back in the queue. So, I hope it's not another 14 weeks, but that they bump us up. But as you can see then what kind of 2 photos here, this is what it looked like, and we've shifted and we've taken some of the end sections off. We still have about 3 rows to finish up, so it'll just be a little more open there between the children's collection and the nonfiction collection. like over by the adult fiction, a little more open zone.
There's two things from Institute I really want to talk about. The first one is the Girls Who Code stuff. That one, I'm really excited about it. I'm hoping to get, so to be a facilitator with Girls Who Code, because they don't really care if you like use the name or not, because they're very flexible with how you use their resources. But in order to be a facilitator, you have to go through a background check and like go through their process. So I've started that process, so hopefully I hear back from them soon and can kind of move forward with building some coding clubs here at the library. And then the other one that I really wanted to talk about, because this was the one I think I had the most fun at Institute, was the Steps to Designing Meaningful Teen Spaces session that we had. We had an interior designer and an architect from TSP in Sioux Falls give a presentation on designing meaningful teen spaces. So one of the activities that I plan to do as a result of this presentation is having the Teen Advisory Board create inspiration boards for potentially looking at how to better design our teen space in the library so that they are comfortable and it's something that reflects their desires and their needs. And I imagine that that is going to be significantly long-term planning, but I'd much rather get them involved in that because that is it's a meaningful step to really getting them to have ownership over space in the library. So that's about it for me.
Thanks for all your work on that, Zach. Obviously, put a lot of thought into it. Thanks.
And then Jean's report there, I mean, she, besides what she just handed out with the photos, you know, she included some quotes of you know, what she overheard or what people said directly to her at some of the programs, so.
It sounded like MB and First Lutheran and other people are starting to come regularly.
Yeah, I mean, First Lutheran has
Has been.
come back. I mean, they had been, you know, at least once a month, but they're now more regularly again, and MB's has done more too. And one of MB's, you know, issues are just transportation.
Yeah.
First Lutheran they just walk down the street, but MB has to come up with transportation and funding for the transportation, so. And our, you know, our art programming, I think this summer was a big success too, having April Geist do some sessions, a couple of different weeks, and then the artist from New York too.
We got the soundboard fixed. I thought it
Yes, yeah, we got that, and we used that for, well, we,
helpful. I mean.
oh, yeah. Yeah.
Snap everybody to attention.
Yeah. So I'm just going to skip over the table of statistics because, you know, some of that is shown here. So circulation, well, one thing, I'll go back up. Circulation in June was 10,762. So that's about 2,500 more than May. So that's probably getting us back closer to pre-COVID levels. I mean, we're still, I think, I'm really hoping that we will break 100,000 checkouts this year, and we're at just under 51,000 after 6 months. So that's really good, and we certainly should, you know, surpass the last 2 years by a bunch, but I'm, again, hoping that we'll be over 100,000. Then traffic, we've never had an hour period since we installed the people counters where we had over 1,000 people come in just that 1 hour. 10 o'clock hour is, story time. So we've had good attendance in June for story time. And then the library traffic, you can see again the 52 plus 100 in June, how that compares to June of last year. And it's about 1,100 higher than May and March. So that was good. We won't have 5,000 in July, but we'll have,
Programming.
yeah, not as much programming in July, and some of it was, but we still will be over 4,000 again.
When you say checkout, is that the physical checkout? in the
That's all
library?
checkouts,
So that
including
includes
ebooks.
Libby and-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we compared to, so if you go back, like compared to 2016, 17, and 18, it's probably more accurate now than it was back then, because we were double counting some
Well,
checkouts.
and there's still, Zach and I were actually just talking about this before we came over here. One thing that going forward that it will take work, it will take a lot of physical work. In the audiobooks that have maybe 9 or 10 or more CDs, each CD was barcoded. And so then they checked out each CD instead of just, in other library, when we request, audiobooks from other libraries, there's one barcode, yeah. And we have other things, like our movies just have one barcode, even though they may have 2 discs in them, and there are other things. So eventually, but it would take a lot of work to touch all of the audiobooks, to remove 10 barcodes and remove it from the records too. And we don't have as many checkouts of physical audiobooks. And so I think there's also been some natural decline in numbers
Technology's going to
from 2015,
obsolete that
2016.
fairly soon.
Especially with the pandemic, people got used to probably checking out e-audiobooks, and I don't know that we've had as many checkouts there, so. But that still is, the June traffic was impressive, I think. And then the other, and if you remember, we noticed a big increase in Wi-Fi session counts starting in January of 2022, and back in either the March or April meetings, some of you asked, why is that? And I did contact HUFI, and the answer is that HUFI, in their technology and working, they then, their software gets installed on top of our firewall or whatever. They discovered that in the Cisco Meraki products, which is what we have, there was some tech error in the glitch in this. Yeah, they weren't counting like all Apple device sessions. And they submitted a request or, submitted a notice to Cisco saying, we discovered this, this glitch in your product. And Cisco said, you know what, you're right. They fixed it. And as of January, so actually our 2021 numbers were probably, definitely undercounted. But,
Diana asked that question.
yeah. But that's the answer. Revenue is looking good. I mean, our revenue for 2022 is is over 2018's revenue, and just $2,500 less than 2020. So we stay busy there. In programming, our programming numbers, again, 2020 we had so many of the online sessions that lots of people, and just the way you count Facebook watches, views. And last year, again, we haven't done as much online because we've been able to do more face-to-face, but we're still happy. And here's I mean, it's a comparison, so the yellow is 2021, the dark blue is 2022, so here my mouse is on, so our June 2022 programming participation is well above any previous year, in June, except last year. And last year we had all of the animals, it was animals come pet this animal, come pet that animal. And last year, if you remember, everybody was just so ready to get out of their houses after being, so, I mean, we haven't seen quite as, many people come, but still very good. So that's kind of library report, usage, and where we are with that. Any questions?
Awesome. Thank you.
So we have to accept the,
Move to accept director's report,
Okay.
plural.
okay? Great.
Plural. Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, good. So financial report. Starts with the
Bank statement, we're still close. I mean, we're not anywhere close to the 75,000 that we had said we would go down to, or because, and it will be a number of months now before
Spending all the money up once.
the end panels come, so before we spend that. The outdoor seating is not going, we haven't, I had talked to Stephanie because the black aluminum benches that, are around town, downtown, across the street and other places, I thought, those would be really nice benches to be the same as what has been placed elsewhere. And Stephanie told me that they got those from Bailey Welding. And so after probably a month and a half, I'm still waiting to get a quote. I called a couple of weeks ago, and they had lost my request under their desk. And so I think it's time that if I don't hear anything by Friday, I need to Friday call them again to say, am I ever going to get that?
I know other city things we've dealt with them, they've been pretty good.
Yeah. So, but I'm hoping that that's the bench that we will get to.
Like out in the plaza?
Yeah, because then we would match, and, we could identify then as city benches and city seating and just look like other city departments. So, I mean, that's the plan, but it's taking longer than, so that would, so that money hasn't been spent either. And then, so here's the money we did spend in June from the account, our first revenue, $1,337. And if you notice, every month now we have the uncategorized revenue. I could either put it as miscellaneous or I just put it as uncategorized, but let me see. Do I have?
What was the $300 or is that under subscriptions?
Let's see. I think Emma is calling in. Hello, Emma.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
I
Hey,
can hear
Emma.
you.
Yes.
Perfect. I'm sorry I'm so late joining, but just got out of a conference.
Well, welcome. So the uncategorized, I think every week when we count money, there's seems to be extra money that maybe didn't get rung up, or somebody forgot, and so I don't have a way to say, oh well, some of that should be copies or whatever, so I just put it as. So if you ever wonder what that uncategorized revenue is, that's what it is.
And the point of sale system is running everything into categories as you want it and has
Yeah.
made life easier?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, reported, after we purchased it last year, I mean, it saved so much time in counting money. I mean, it would take us 45 minutes sometimes just
Now it seems
because we had
like
3
it took us
drawers.
so long to get it.
Yeah.
As usually happens.
It's also really nice because we've got patrons that want receipts for
Sure.
certain things,
Sure.
and we can print them out.
Yep.
I know that we've texted patrons receipts every so often for certain things too, so it's really neat.
So that's, and then the city, the library's budget, for salaries, we are just about, just under 50% at the end of June. I think July was the month that we have 3 payrolls.
That's what they agree.
So, that will kind of get closer to than where we are. And overall, current expenses were just 44%, so a little under 50%. And capital outlay, we are, just under 50% too, so we're on track there. And then the detail that, if you want to, you can go into the agenda and look at the detail yourself of. So I think that, let me see here, that's the financial report. Yep.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the financial report and bills?
I so move.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we move on to business items. The first is board members needing to select a chairperson and vice chairperson for 2022 to 2023 and set meeting times. So as far as the election of officers, I am stepping down from chairperson, and I would like to nominate Denny Nath for the chairperson position.
Second.
Okay,
Move the nomination C.
awesome.
Somebody's got to second that.
Second?
Okay.
All right, so Denny is our new chairperson. Vice chairperson, I would like to
Oh,
nominate.
do we need to vote?
We-
Or can
we
we vote?
vote.
Since we only nominated one and then closed
Yeah,
the
it's-
nominations,
okay.
usually you have to
All right.
cast unanimous ballot.
Okay, all right.
All right, so let's do that, I guess, just to, all in favor of Denny as the new chairperson, say aye.
Aye.
I hear the training.
Aye.
Yeah.
Okay.
For vice.
So I think now you take over,
Okay.
or do you?
That sounds
Technically, yes.
reasonable.
Yeah. Hands going, that sounds great.
And hands down.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you.
Good
For
job,
your
Aaron.
years of service.
Yes.
Okay, accept nominations for vice chairperson.
I will move Diana Goldhammer as vice chair.
And I will second that.
Move nomination C.
I will second that.
Okay,
And
we have
she
a
has
second.
agreed
We have a
to,
second?
she has
Yes.
agreed to do that, so.
Okay. We have to vote on that? Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have cast the unanimous ballot then for
Diana.
Diana.
And if I can just interject, then I will start the process with the bank to get
Signatures.
the signature changed from Ann to Diana. And
I'm
have,
already on.
you're on there, yeah, so you'll remain on there.
All right. Okay.
Okay, and then we need to set meeting times for 2023, 2022, 2023. We've been doing the third Tuesday. Does that still work for everyone?
Usually.
Third
Yeah,
Tuesday.
with enough notice, yeah. Are we going to still do like the every other?
Yeah, I assumed everybody, you wanted to continue that. I mean, especially
Kind
for,
of just started, so. let's
yeah,
see if it-
and especially for the rest of this calendar year, because, we were then going to use the even months to get some training hours so that we can, for accreditation purposes.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
So then the next board meeting will be the third Tuesday. That'd be August 16th at the public library.
And actually, I think it'll be the third Tuesday of September if we're doing odd months for meetings. And then our training session I mean, for official meeting,
Next formal meeting.
I
will be
understand.
yeah, and then our training session will be the,
16th.
the
16th of August.
yeah, 16th of August, and I have that in the adjournment notes here of the agenda
So we will be at the library in
on August
August.
16th.
On the 16th.
Okay.
So September 20th will be the next board meeting at council chambers.
Yes.
Okay. And Kevin, do you know
At 5
the
o'clock.
timing for when you have to submit the budget?
We have not been given a date for getting them submitted, but
Between August 16th and September 20th. That's why.
Yeah.
And that there needs to be communication with us.
I will.
So that we're aware.
Yeah, I will, that's why I wanted to at least say, that I plan on pretty much, asking status quo, maybe some inflationary increases for supplies or books, but everything, I'm planning on, I think everything we should be okay if we get the same amount this year. I mean, next year as this year.
I just want to make sure the timing's right, so
Right.
that I don't get to a meeting and, hey, have you seen what the library submitted for the budget? And I
Yeah.
say, no.
No, and certainly as before that, if we have to submit it to Stephanie before the September meeting, I will send it out via email and, yeah, so that everybody, and that you would have time to, be able to ask questions or anything like that, yeah.
Perfect. That's all I want. Yeah.
And the meetings will be at 5, correct, still?
Well, unless, do you prefer a different time?
5:15?
I know I mean, we could do 5:15. Other,
That's okay with me.
okay.
That way,
Some other libraries do noon meetings, but 5's fine, this works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay, second business item is to approve funding requests for July of 2022.
Okay, so we have 3 funding requests. The first one comes from Jean for Read for the Record. We've done Read for the Record, the last couple of years. It's in October this year. It's scheduled for October 27th. The book is Nigel and the Moon, and Jean's request is to purchase, instead of just a few copies, if you buy the bundle of 50, you get them so much cheaper, and so buy the bundle of 50 English copies and then buy 5 Spanish copies to hand out to.
Is the 358.42 firm exact, or do I need to
Well,
make a motion like $400?
no, because then the funding request here is 380, so that would cover shipping too.
Okay.
So, for the 50 copies, so that's plus and she had actually had it at like 378, and I just rounded it up to 380.
I'll move approval of the $380 for the
Nigel,
Read for the Record.
Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next funding request.
Okay, just a minute. Okay. The next one, we've talked about this, the Hispanic dance troupe. We have finally had better communication, and they agreed to, we had told them, we would, be able to do, probably be able to do the $500 fee, and then for transportation, the most we would be willing to pay is $500. And so our funding request is for the $500 for the performance fee. We are going to seek partners to help pay for the, so we'll go to some of the service clubs. I think I'm even going to talk to the chamber to see, because, that would certainly fit in with the Forward 2040, and, they've been doing some leading on those strategic pillars, and this fits in with the creating a welcoming or diverse community with that. And then Ada Morales was also going to be talking to, one of the priests at one of the Catholic church to see if they would provide the meal, because that was one other thing that they wanted, to be, that they be fed. And so if Holy Family is just right down the street, and that would, so we're working on all of those. So our request is for the $500 for the performance fee.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second by Ann. Further discussion?
Oh, it all comes together.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, we won't spend the $500.
Well, yeah. Well, 'cause, yeah, I mean, it was taking a while to but then Ada found out that, well, kind of their lead person had gone back to visit family in Mexico and for a while, and so I think that was some of the communication issues. But we had thought, well, if we don't get communication with them, actually next summer's kind of nationwide theme is kind of multicultural related, and so we thought we could have waited and we'll see if they'd come next summer.
Plan for them to perform here?
Yes, at the Corn Palace stage, that in September 10th, yeah, which is a few days before, but I still see it as a kickoff to, and then something else that we have talked about, is having for Hispanic Heritage Month is, maybe having a program in the library where, Ada's from Guatemala, we have, folks from Mexico, we have some folks from Puerto Rico, we have, so have maybe 4 or 5 different residents from different countries, just each of them do like a 15-minute talk on their cultures and what makes their country and culture unique from the other Hispanic cultures, and just do that in the library. And that would be, if we just have them come, it would be an inexpensive way to have another event to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month.
We have a motion and a second. Need to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Vote carried.
Yeah, pass. Sorry that, we,
Third funding request.
this comes from Zach, so he's here, so I'm going to let him talk about it. The request is for $600 to purchase adult and young adult materials that can be used to hand out for Banned Book Week.
Yes. So when I attended PLA this May, yeah, there was extensive talk about book challenges and book bans happening across the U.S. And I actually sat in on what was supposed to be an author talk, where an author talked about the book that they had published recently. It ended up being more a session on the author's perspective on banned books and challenge books, which was quite interesting. So basically what I'm asking for is to really highlight Banned Books Week and how it ties in and hurts intellectual freedom in a library setting. I know just a couple weeks ago there was a library in Iowa that completely shut down as a result of harassment and threats against library staff. The whole staff walked out, partly because of the increased censorship efforts by certain groups. The background kind of outlines what's kind of going on. The ALA releases a report every year detailing what's going on with reports. One thing that I really want to point out is that in 2021, the ALA tracked 729 challenges, which is also on this handout, to 1,597 books across the United States, some of which include classics like 1984, To Kill a Mockingbird, ones that are repeatedly challenged over and over and over again.
All of them.
The other thing that the ALA talked about really extensively this year is that 82 to 97% of book challenges remain unreported to the Office of Intellectual Freedom. So really what this is about is it's about getting this literature in the hands of individuals to really engage with them and hopefully understand the materials that these books are talking about. Because I can tell from my personal experience growing up as LGBTQ, libraries were a safe haven for me because of books. And I don't want that to be a case for teens. So.
I was looking at who initiates challenges. As much as I like teachers, I don't like to be associated with them as far as challenges. Teachers / librarians?
Yeah,
Teachers, not librarians.
there's
It's library.
You see it from all over the place, people have challenges.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
to me, it's bizarre.
There
You don't have
be-
to
Well-
read the book if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
I mean, we, just look at, what was going on in the Rapid City School District.
yep.
And this past summer, spring, when the school board was removing removing some
That
books.
one book.
Yeah, a number of books that were on the senior or
Senior
senior
Senior reading list.
reading list. Yeah.
Have there been challenges on CRT theory? What?
I know, from what I understand, most of the challenges revolving around CRT have been happening more in Texas than any other state. Texas, I believe, is actually leading the nation in book challenges right now, partly because of there's an organization that published a list of like 390 some titles, and this is kind of where the library / teachers comes in. There were librarians that were removing the materials from the shelf without any formal challenges,
And they're
just in case, just to not even worry about the challenges happening. So
To avoid a challenge.
to avoid a challenge, which is a form of censorship in and of itself.
I don't have an issue with this, and I'll move approval for the 500. Try and
600.
pick, or the 600, try and pick some books that they actually want.
Yeah.
Not just, hey, this one, somebody banned this one to get it a whole bunch of publicity.
Yeah.
So they can sell a whole bunch, and so I'm going to get those. But if you've got young adult people that want a particular book, those would be the ones
Yeah.
to try and get. not just,
Absolutely.
Because people are putting book bans and requests in for publicity
Yep.
purposes to sell their book.
Yep.
Because it gets on a list and people see it and they say, ooh, yeah, it reads our sales.
The Streisand effect.
So I'll move approval, but to try and get ones that have been requested or that, and I'll leave it up to the
Yep.
library, that you think make a point even that you want to try and make. I don't know, but
Yeah, I want to do this year, and then hopefully next year I want to build on this a little bit more and do this in conjunction with like an exhibit in the library to talk about more in general how intellectual freedom affects the library space. But I'm not going to go for that this year because putting together an exhibit is quite a lot of work, and I haven't done it in about 4 years. So this is what I'm going to start with right now.
Well, the ALA has lists, right? I mean, they
Yes.
publish
Oh, yeah.
really good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're such a great resource.
big list.
There are other organizations that are also tracking, like state by state, book by book, title by title, how many challenges there are. So I'll be tapping into those resources as well.
Motion by Steve, do we have a second?
I second it.
Second by Deb. Any further discussion? I remember I only had one major book that was challenged when I was at the middle school.
Really?
Mr. and Mrs. Bojo Jones.
Really?
Really?
Mhm. And I thought, well, they can, the principal called me and said, we have to remove this book from the shelf. I said, no, I don't. He said, yes, you do. It came from the upper administration. Their kid had read the book and did not like it. And the administrator said it had to come off the shelf. And he moved on in December and the book went back on the shelf. But it was interesting. But that, very few, I think we had maybe 2 or 3 other challenges at the elementary level. But none since then. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the $600. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed and carried.
Thank you.
Take care of our business items. Next, our committee reports. Having no committees out at this time. Board
You can
input.
keep it if you want.
Any input from the board?
I would just like to say thank you, Denny, for taking over, and I think you're going to do a great job.
I have great leadership to follow.
Thank
Oh,
you, Ann.
you're welcome.
Your work over the years.
And
3 years you did? 3?
I was chair 2 years. right?
Yeah, because when I
But I've been on the board
started,
about
then Ann had just,
4.
I think, begun as president.
As far as board input, I've really been impressed with the summer programming. That has been fantastic. The last 2 years, actually.
Right.
Citizens input, seeing no other people here, I don't think we have any. Move to adjourn, or do I just adjourn? I adjourn.
I'll nod down, that's Ann's favorite part.
That has been sitting there all these months, and I've never used it. Now I'm mad.